Awesome. Hi, Bonnie. Thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to me about this fun movie.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time too.
Yeah. So I like to start a little bit when I have more than 5 minutes with someone to kind of talk to them about what got them into acting and a little bit of who they are in their journey before we start talking about their project.
Sure. What got me into acting? Well, I was always interested in expression as a kid, for sure. I was always singing in the backseat of the car, very expressive. I'm also a double Leo astrologically, so there's that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think I'd thought about it as a kid, like it could be fun, to do performing arts and stuff. But I was a springboard diver in Australia, and a friend at diving actually had an agent, and that sounded like fun. I know. So she introduced me, and I went. I think I did a couple of modeling jobs first, which was not really my thing. And then the first audition that I went for, I booked. It was a TV show in Australia called High Flyers, and I played a circus kid, a trapeze artist.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it just kind of happened from there.
That's so cool. I love that you're like, I was a high diver. It's fine.
I don't think I can do it anymore, but it was fun. Yeah.
Right. You lose that no fear as a child. It's like people try to get me to swim in lakes and ponds. I'm like, no, as a kid, sure. Now I know what's in there.
Totally. Yeah.
You're
exactly.
No, thank you. So let's talk about my favorite girlfriend. What was it about this project that you were like, I need to be a part of this?
I mean, the script I thought was so fantastic. And so when I read that, it moved me. I was laughing and I was crying, and I just really loved what Amanda had written. And it felt so heartwarming. And I'm always drawn to do things that feel like they have that kind of heart quality. But I was definitely intimidated, and I did not know if I could do it. And I really had doubts. And so when I met with Amanda, I kind of said to myself beforehand, I just said, okay, if I feel safe with her, I'll do it. I'll say yes. And I did instantly. So we met at a cafe, and she was just so warm and accepting of my whole process and everything. And it was just like, why would I say no? So it was a huge challenge, but I decided to jump in and do it. You
play a character that has DID, which not a lot of people may have heard of or know about or even think is real. Yeah. So when you got this role, how did you prepare? Did you watch a lot of United States of Terror, which is how I was introduced to it? What did you do? I started watching a little bit of that, but then I spoke with someone who actually has DID who was consulting on the film, and they gave me like a really very, very human, real perspective of what it's like and the trauma behind it and what it's like for the people in their lives and everything. So that was really helpful. And then YouTube, I did a lot of Googling. There's actually people who will switch from altar to altar on video, and you can see it all. So that was kind of my research. And then I was shooting Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I decided not to really launch into the characters for my favorite girlfriend until I wrapped Obi-Wan, because I just wasn't sure if it was going to leak in somehow. Right. So I really, like, as soon as I wrapped, I think I had 2 weeks in between, and I just went hardcore with fleshing everything out, getting the accents. I know it was really I did it in 2 weeks. It's fine. Yeah, but I didn't feel ready. I was like, okay, we're shooting. Did you spend a day as each altar, or like, how did you really finesse them?
Not a day, but I certainly spent like different chunks where I would just embody them. And then I worked with a dialect coach who also was an acting coach, and so he really helped me flesh out the different mannerisms of each one. So that was really helpful. I needed someone to bounce it all off. And, we get stuck in our own kind of personalities, and to have someone say, hey, why don't you do this with your eyes, or like grit your teeth in this way, right, or something, that helps to get you out of your own kind of identity.
What about playing Molly or any of her alters? Did you learn anything about yourself as an actor? Do you feel like you stretched a lot?
Yeah, I felt like I stretched so much. In I think all of the characters, I mean, because they were all so distinct, Molly with her influencer kind of personality, which is really different than me. Even though I'm a Leo, I don't really have that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm a bit shy. And Silk, the rocker chick, she really stretched me. That was the one that took, I think, the most time really getting it down. And I'd send ideas and things to Amanda, and she'd come back with, I think she needs to be a bit more like this. And it was like, So that was the biggest challenge, definitely. But I felt like by the time I was on set, I kind of had her down and I knew where she was going to land.
Do you think you learned anything about yourself through these characters that you didn't know?
You know, we get so kind of stuck in our own personalities. And I guess I learned that I can express in all these different ways, and that all of them can kind of feel authentic too. So I think as a person too, that really helped me just stretch my overall expression and how I am. I definitely was kind of more expressive in a different way after them. And sometimes actually some of the characters would sneak out when I was like talking to my husband, and he's like, oh, getting a little wiggy there, you know.
He's like, excuse me, bring my wife back.
Yeah. Who are you? Yeah.
Talk to me about working with Tyler Johnson. He's so sweet. I know a lot of people love him from Young and the Restless.
Yeah, he has a huge fan base, obviously. He's the sweetest guy. He's such a great person, and we instantly connected, and I felt totally safe with him too, which always helps. Yeah, and then it was just so fun to see him also really kind of work in the OCD stuff, because his character Conrad has OCD. So yeah, he really changed his personality too for that.
Yeah,
you know, Tyler, who I met, is very different than Conrad.
Absolutely. I knew right away. As soon as like you hear the VO of his best friend talking about him, I was like, oh, these are two people who deal with trauma in two very different ways who are coming together and kind of create this beautiful love story and figuring out who they are and who they want to be. And
yeah,
such an important message to kind of get out there. Did you have a favorite scene?
You know, I really loved playing Vanessa, the Southern gal from Oklahoma. So, because I really worked on that accent, and there was kind of this character that really came with that. So all of Vanessa's scenes were really fun. But I think especially the one where Conrad first meets Vanessa when she comes back from the bathroom as Vanessa, because she's just kind of so over the top. And he's like, so shocked.
Hi, oh, sorry,
right. And he's so shell-shocked. And so that was really interesting playing opposite him, because he actually genuinely was shell-shocked. He was taken aback for a second. So that was a really interesting kind of reaction we had together.
Yes, this is a real one. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to throw this in the rom-com category of a film. Do you have a favorite rom-com that you would watch over and over growing up, or even today?
That's a good idea. So actually, okay, I hope I'm not getting the name wrong, but there was an Australian movie called Dating the Enemy. And it was actually a man and a woman who swapped places. Like they woke up one morning as the other one, like in the other one's body, which is interesting because it's not too different than this in a way, like, you know, swapping. I loved it. It was, just a heartfelt Australian romantic comedy.
We have a movie like that called Switched.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah. I'm like,
I actually didn't watch Switched. I probably could have, but it didn't feel like the most kind of the best way for me to research it. But I'll have to watch it. Yeah.
Not for this, but if you want to watch a fun rom-com, for sure.
Yeah, I think I need to. Yeah, I will.
I do want to ask you about your time back on Obi-Wan, if that's okay. Did you ever think after doing chapter 2 and chapter 3 that you would get the call to come back to Star Wars?
I mean, I hope so, especially over the last few years. We were kind of hearing rumors of like Ewan wanted to come back and potentially do a Kenobi movie or something, and I knew it would be in that time frame. So I definitely was hoping, you know, that was kind of like fingers crossed, you know, that they bring Beru back. But I really didn't imagine that it would be so awesome the way they brought it back, and that I would have such a strong character in that. So
yeah. Like they could have gone with anyone. And I love that they called you and they called the guy who played Owen back. Like, we need the original people. What was it like when you got that call? Were you just like over the moon?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had just been through a really tough time in my life, and I'd moved to Portugal with my husband, which is where I am now. And we were just kind of taking a break and resting. And I wanted to do acting, but I wasn't actually really pursuing it at that point. So they called me and they were like, do you want to come back? And it was like, of course, but it was overwhelming too, because I knew that the role was going to be bigger and, you know, would really require a lot of strength. And yeah, it's a lot to step into that. So
And I
I'm
thought the
grateful.
battle scene between Riva and Owen and you, I thought that was so cool. What was that like shooting that moment, being in the action?
It was so surreal because like I did not think that my character would have an action sequence.
Right.
I was
Why?
like, I was actually literally pinching myself. I was like, remember what this is like, and don't take it for granted. And I would look around at all the sets, and it was phenomenal. And it was the first action sequence I've ever done, actually. So
Really?
it was, yeah, it was exciting. It was
Did you
great.
do
And Reva's Moses is so wonderful too. So it was just great working with her and Joel.
Was there a ton of like choreography training and like rehearsal leading up to that moment?
A little bit, yeah. There was a little bit of fight training. I had a back injury at the time, so I had to be kind of careful. Otherwise, I would have done a lot more. But yeah, they were running me through a bunch of things to learn how to fight a little bit, and I'm not very good at it. I need to get better.
You're like, it's fine. You had a back injury. You did great. Through that, I was like, look at her go, shoot the guns. I thought it was so awesome. I was like, I'm so excited. Were you ever on set for a day when, you and, as Obi-Wan would say, his trademark phrase, hello there?
I wasn't there for that. So as that was happening, I was actually in my trailer, and I probably could have like come out and watched it, but I wasn't there for that. I was on set as I got to see a little bit of the Vader Obi-Wan fight scene. So I got to sit there and watch it on the monitors and everything. That was really cool.
That's awesome. So what is next for you? You have this amazing movie that's coming out. You've been on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, what's next?
I'm having a little bit of a break, kind of just chilling in Portugal for a while. And then I'm doing, I think it's 2 movies, maybe 3 next year, starting early next year. Yeah, and an animation too. So it's kind of just, it's coming in, and I'm just saying yes, like, yeah, thank you. It's wonderful.
So
I'm
awesome.
so grateful.
And then for my last thing for you, we like to do this thing for social media where we have you say in 30 seconds or less why everyone should watch My Favorite Girlfriend.
Okay. So I'll just go for it.
Just go for it. You got this.
Okay. I think everyone should watch My Favorite Girlfriend because you'll learn about DID, dissociative identity disorder, which is very important and educational, I think. And it's fun, it's funny, and it's very heartwarming, which I think we all need.
Amazing. Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate
Thank you, Sarah.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too.